This is Harry Gines, the first black man of reparations in U.S. history, coming to you today with another presentation of the Invisible Man. The Invisible Man is somebody like Ralph Ellison. Ralph Ellison is the creator of the Invisible Man, but yet I do a presentation where I like to give honor to Ralph Ellison in using his title as the Invisible Man. It is time that the country of America recognize a few things. The position that the African American, in this time travel, there will be a time travel where the black man can find his position, his rightful position in America. That is what this presentation is geared to do. And in doing so, I might be able to show both sides, be it north or south, where the black man position fits in America. Now, it is very difficult to do this presentation. It has been long awaited for me over 30 years. So if you would please allow me a chance to bring to you Harry Gines versus the United States, case number 99-10-255. It is a case that it seals the black man's position in America. But at the same token, it will also allow them to know what Lincoln wrote. And it gives me a great honor to be able to do this at a time in history dating back to, I believe I have some notes. Right now, Springfield, Illinois is having their annual fair. And it dates back to, looks like 1853. Springfield, Illinois has had a state fair before Lincoln was even president. So it has a lot of history having a state fair. So in bringing this presentation, I would just like the Illinois State Fair to recognize that once again, Harry Gines is the Invisible Man, because I wasn't able to be presented at the fair, nor has any of my videos been shown at the fair. So I just want to let it be known that the opportunity, I'm not going to let history escape. The timing is ripe. Snoop Dogg, I don't mean to name drop, but yet Snoop Dogg was at the fair in Springfield, Illinois. So again, I was there as the Invisible Man. You didn't see me, but I saw you, and you did a very nice job. Everything went well. You're very professional. But yet, Snoop Dogg has some problems and some issues of some things that happened here recently. Here recently, as we do this time travel, again, I am the Invisible Man, so I will be narrating part of this presentation not in view. So with saying that, there was an incident that occurred not too long ago where the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was banned. He was banned from social media, and everybody was in an uproar behind it. So in honor of Louis Farrakhan, the Elijah Muhammad, and those who have come before them, be it Noble Drew Ali, Frederick Douglass, Martin Luther King, W.E. Du Bois, whoever it may be who we look at and honor to, this is Harry Gines' best. It links everything that those before me tried to do. This is not something I'm trying. This has been found in the United States Supreme Court for years now. It is a case that brings forth a position for the African American to have reparations. The issues that this case will set forth shall be something in history that I may not be around. But see, something happened, even on social media, where I'm often on Twitter. Yes, I'm often on Twitter, and if I could just give some honorable mentions, because they have really supported my efforts in trying to bring forth Harry Guines versus the United States to the world. They have done just in a like or a mention. If it was nothing more than that, that was more than what you ever realized that have put this piece before you today. You know, your interest has been very strong. And I would like to give my thanks to Miss, yes, Nat Turner. Miss Nat Turner, you are the greatest female activist around. Make no doubt. You are the greatest female activist, whether it's male, I mean, you're just the greatest that I've seen. And the reason why that is because you have a style that can relate to people that today is necessary. It's really necessary for people like Miss Nat Turner in her way of bringing her perspective. It's very strong, and I hope you guys will visit her page on Twitter. She's also on Facebook too, but she really gives a very strong presentation, and I just can't thank you enough. You know, one of the issues, if I can recall, was the fact that the South is the origin, and everybody knows that, the South is the origin of the black man and black woman. But yet, as time comes to pass, and on this time travel, I'm the invisible man. So we must do a time travel. Within the time travel, it's very necessary, as Miss Nat Turner will make things clear, that the origin of the black man, being from the South, headed north. Now, as he headed north, that is the starting point, the migration era of the black man being able to leave the plantation. So we have to understand, you ain't always been up north. So maybe this route that I'm trying to send you, you may be able to catch on to this route and hold on to it and recognize that you are needed. You are needed. Those ones up north that made it, you're needed back south. Together, whether you north or south, together we will make a difference in how the next generation will be able to understand the position of the black man within the United States. There are plenty of things that this case could be used for, but as I had mentioned, there are men before me that weren't able to do what Harry Guines has done here today. They weren't able to do it. So it's very proud. It's a very proud moment to me to know that men like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, no, it was only a dream from them to do what you're about to see today that Harry Guines has done. That's very important in the legal system. Yes, it's very important. The legal system has the black man as if he's whole. No, your origin of slavery never really made you whole. It's still in the Constitution today that a black man was counted in America as 3/5. Now, whether you want to say, oh, that's old, that's no longer, that's been abolished, however way you may look at it, it's still in the Constitution, so it must be there for a reason. Yes, and Harry Guines, excuse me, Harry Guines is able to show in legal terms why that position is still there, and it's righteous for a black man to have such an advantage, because a white man being whole, it is his country. However it came about, it is his as it stands today. Yet, the black man being inseparable, see, because you were a slave, you really don't have any how you say, any culture dating back to Africa. And even an African will question you in the sense of, you say you are an African American, which really makes no sense at all. To be a African American. Those are two countries. Which one do you claim? You see, so you not having the culture, you must have a position in America. Now, 3/5 was your position, and as I said, it's still there. But yet, by you not knowing how to use the law, you have overlooked the law that could be to your benefit. Reparations is something that other cultures have received, even through America. In World War II, the Japanese were rounded up in America. Here you come bombing Pearl Harbor like you did, killing Americans like you did. No, they became untrustworthy. They were rounded up and placed in camps in America. There's a legal case that says that. You bombed Pearl Harbor, you made history. But the nationals, Japanese nationals, no, they paid a price for that. Their safety amongst the American people became very questionable. But as time came to pass, all Japanese Americans, they wanted to stand and say that that was wrong. How they were treated even in wartime. And the American government compensated the Japanese Americans. Well, see, things like that just don't happen for African Americans. It just doesn't happen where you're compensated. That is the root of the Confederacy having a war with the North. That is the root. And in that root comes the black man supposedly victorious. The North is supposed to have won. Supposed to have won. But the way in the 21st century, do you really think the North won? It does look like maybe they didn't, because Abraham Lincoln was killed. And all of his materials in law have been shunned, withheld by the American people. I mean, it's not in your education. This is an educational presentation. And the reason why it's an educational presentation, because people like to label. Everybody wants to label someone. And within that label, all the good attributes disappear because you've been labeled. As an example, the Elijah Muhammad was labeled by Malcolm X. And the whole country got on the bandwagon, and all the good attributes of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad became non-existent. You see, so what would be some of the good attributes? Yes, the Elijah Muhammad was able to take a stand that he was not a U.S. citizen. He made it clear that he was a non-citizen, but yet entitled to the rights of the people under 3/5 as a free man. But he wanted to let it be known that it's unrighteous for him to be drafted into the military under 3/5 laws. He had a position. So he didn't really, win the case, because he was tried and convicted. Now, here we are decades later, but Harry Guys comes along and able to say, well, maybe he wasn't. Maybe he was wrongfully convicted. You see, because a slave being freed into a society, the Reconstruction era failed. It never did. Now, I'm going to link that for you just a little bit in a scenario or a comparison, how one president will pass things into law, but yet the next president will come along and try to, take away everything he done, wipe out the legacy. That's what happens. I mean, you see it right in front of you today. President Obama, who done 8 years, but the next president comes along, such as Donald Trump, tries to wipe out the legacy of President Obama. It happens. And some of the work that he's doing is sticking. Yes, it's sticking. It's holding in the American government, as some of the work that Obama done should be taken away. So now, with that being said, if you're looking at that comparison, when another president comes along and wants to challenge the president before it, but see, that never happened with Abraham Lincoln. It is possible for someone to do so, to oppose the former president. It is possible to do that. Now, again, I just said, when it came to Abraham Lincoln, the next president opposed the work of Abraham Lincoln, and it stuck. And it's been stuck ever since. No president has ever came along and looked at the issues of Abraham Lincoln and said, well, maybe that's not right. You see, maybe that's not right. And challenged the work of taking it away, what Abraham Lincoln wrote. Now, as a black man, what else am I supposed to stand on? The word is ambiguous. And I left you with that word in some of my other videos. But when something becomes ambiguous, you only have the original law as righteous. It is very clear if the 13th article by Abraham Lincoln was law, but yet anything taken away from that, and you care to oppose it, you have a right to do so. That's why even today I question the fact that a black man being drafted as the Elijah Muhammad was drafted and then opposing being drafted for the reasons that he set forth, but yet he was overlooked. No one wanted to understand, well, how can this one man oppose something? How dare you? Well, he took the dare and he served the time for it. I say that may not been righteous at all. How can it be right? With all the information that he had to show, but he just couldn't put it all together. And that's what I'm trying to say here, that in putting it all together, I want both sides, be it North or South, to look at what Abraham Lincoln wrote and then compare it to how the black man lives today. What position does he really have? Because unless you're going to question who you are and the culture that you say you come from, an African American makes no sense at all to the rest of the world. An African American only makes sense to the former slave. He's so confused, he don't know which way he can be. So this is why Harry Gines comes today, to bring a petition that the rest of the world will be able to feel and see in legal rights what the African American should be in America. And I thank you for listening. But hold on. There's still one. You know, there's always one that get left out. It happens to me all the time. But no, I haven't forgot you. I haven't forgot you at all. Matter of fact, I believe his name is Christopher Lewis Glenn. Christopher Lewis Glenn has a page on Twitter. Now, he speaks in a way that inspired me. He motivated me. I don't know him. I have only, just kind of been on his page a couple of times, but each time I go to his page, it's very strong. But he said something that really made me look at the labeling of people, because it's very difficult being labeled to do what he set forth. Mr. Glenn said the most gangsterous, or the most, how did he term that? The most gangsterous thing a person can do is to teach. It was something like that, Glenn. Help me with that. You know? Now, trying to defeat the label of a gangster, trying to teach, that's very confusing. Because most people will shun the gangster. They won't look at the gangster and say, well, he once was. No, he always is. You see, that's how people label, and it sticks. And every time you try to show your face, they ride with the label. So I just wanted to say that, you know, although it's very mindful and thought for you to think that someone being, how you say, the most gangsterous thing a person can do today is teach. But from a gangster, maybe that's part of the problem. It's always getting rejected because a person only looks at the label. It destroyed the Elijah Muhammad. It destroyed him. You see, now this is a man that done no time for any charges whatsoever. You know, no charges were ever brought for him, as Malcolm set forth charges. You know, so I'm simply saying, under any penal system, nothing was ever set forth like that. But yet he was labeled. And the black man and black woman, it's hard to say how that split of a friendship, if we just say it that way, how if that friendship or that bond between the Elijah and Malcolm would have been had that not happened. You know, I'm always stuck like that. I mean, it just really brings, you know, water to my eye. Because had that not happened, how would the position of the black man been? You know, we will never know some things. You know, how would it been if Malcolm and Martin could have hooked up a little bit more? You know, how would it have been? So these are the invisible men that I take my rankings with. Men before me who are often overlooked. You see, so it's here for you today. And I can't wait any further, but yet y'all know who y'all be, who have spent a lot of time with me trying to get to this day. And we have Gong Pinnacle. He is the hardest working man on social media. Always remember that, Gong Pinnacle. We also have Miss London. Miss London is always, that's my niece. She's always supported me. You know, and if I'm wrong for name dropping, listen, y'all going in history with me. I want you to know that. You know, this is an educational piece. I can care less if I make a dime. It's an educational piece. The world must know this. And lastly, you know, there's always someone that at a distance, we will always be brothers. Team up, RGC. Always remember that. That page. Team up, RGC. Always remember that page on Twitter. Me and that brother didn't kick wee hours in the morning, many nights. So these are people who have inspired me. And if I'm wrong for name dropping, you know, I'm sorry. Y'all have really earned this day. This is a day that I can come to y'all and say, if there was nothing, you know, that I could ever leave y'all with. You see, because I'm not going to be around. But it ain't going to happen. It's not going to happen like it could happen. But today, I'm sure it won't happen because I am altering history. I am going to alter history so that the next generation can be assured to know the position of the black man and black woman in America. Because it was hitting me so hard, you know, Mr. Glenn was hitting me so hard, in my heart it was hitting me so hard because being rejected so much, and I have so much I feel to bring to the table. So y'all have to be the ones to take it to the next step to make sure that the educational system accepts Harry Gines, because I can't defeat my label. No, I will not ever be able to live that down. But what would happen if Harry Gines doesn't do this presentation today? What would happen? If I don't do this presentation, and at my age, Yeah, I have health issues too. I have health issues. Everybody does. I'm 62 years old. If I didn't wake up tomorrow, yes, this presentation didn't get done, a whole generation of black people will continue to accept the educational system of leaving out what Lincoln wrote. We can't have that. I cannot pass away and allow that to happen. Like I said, if this presentation doesn't make me a dime, I know that I have done all I could so that the next generation will know what Lincoln wrote. Yeah, that's history being altered right there, because it doesn't exist in your educational system. You got to explain why it don't, because there are a lot of people that know what Lincoln wrote, but they don't know how to put it all together. See, that's what happens. You get all this information, you know everything, but when it comes to really putting it together, you wasn't the one to do it. It was Harry Gines. Make no doubt, it was Harry Gines. Anybody before me didn't get it done. You can give all the praise you want to whoever you want to give it to. It ain't gonna matter after today. Because see, all I'm after is the next generation. I know I can't reach the present generation because they got me labeled, Glenn. You see what I'm saying? They ain't gonna allow me to teach. But I know my work is the right thing. You know, and I ain't got no beef with you, man. It's just that it just touched me in a way that I can't. I can't be what you want me to be. You want me to teach? This is the best. This is the best of Harry Gines coming to you. This is the best. So if it is teaching that you're asking for, you must ask yourself, why isn't everybody, including yourself, making sure that this case goes global? No, it goes global. Everybody, I'm followed by everybody on mainstream news. So this is going as far as China. China would like to know, how is the black man still being poor when Lincoln set forth for him? Yeah, everybody gonna know today. So with that, I just want to make sure that everybody understand what my intentions was. You know, we are all here. Everybody's here. Everybody's here. The North and the South is here. It's not something one-sided. You're going to be united one way or another. And you're going to understand what the black man's position is. Ain't nobody trying to overthrow your government, but you know reparations must be awarded. And it can be. It's a class of people that they accept their role as 3/5. 3/5 gives the protection, as Lincoln knew that a white man could never treat you as equal. He knew that. In other words, he believed in segregation. That's where I'm going with it. It has nothing to do with being racist. It has nothing to do. He knew if the races were amalgamated together, that would be something that could destroy both races. Now look at yourself today. That's all I'm asking you to do. Look at yourself. That is what's happening. It ain't nothing wrong with being segregated. China does it. China has a culture dating back 2,000 years. And you just don't come in China like that, do you? And you know why? Because the mixing of the cultures can destroy both cultures. It didn't have to. You're the one got on that Martin Luther King bandwagon. Yes, you did. Martin Luther King, make no doubt, was for the rich. Yes. Yes, everybody has some part of Martin Luther King benefit, but at the same token, you have people like Chuck Berry, Little Richard, Bo Diddley, and everybody running around with a pocket full of money driving a Cadillac. In 1960, a black man driving a Cadillac, look, oh, he was everything. If you can drive a Cadillac now, I ain't talking about a new Chevy. We're talking about a Cadillac. Black man driving a Cadillac in 1960 with a pocket full of money. But yet, he couldn't go anywhere he wanted to. Here come Martin Luther King. getting that door open for him to go anywhere, anytime he wanted to. Now look at your community. Yeah, you look at that community because all you're doing as a black man is chasing behind a white man. You're entering his neighborhoods. Yes, now you got the money to do it, but the property you left behind, yeah, that's getting ramshacked, ain't it? That's what happens. We have no respect for our own communities. The communities that you was supposed to stay on that side of the railroad track and take care of. You didn't take very good care of it once Martin Luther King came. You ran on the other side of the track quick, spending all your money to get the finest house you possibly could rather than trying to rebuild the house of your granddaddy. Now you ain't got no house at all. It's okay. And you like to judge. I know. But when you get ready to judge Harry Guine's petition, this is what you use. See it? It's a flashlight. That's all it is. Just a flashlight. Now why you need a flashlight? Why you need a flashlight? Where am I going with that? Have you heard of a typewriter and a flashlight? Yeah. Those are the conditions that I'm setting forth so you will understand the light. Why I'm partly blind now is because I read with a flashlight and a typewriter as my tool. So before you start trying to judge stuff, oh, it ain't perfect. It ain't what? Go to your bathroom. Yes, that's where I want you to work from. With a flashlight and the light off and a typewriter. And you can use the toilet seat as your platform for your typewriter. You can do that too. I don't care where you set your typewriter. But just remember that before you start judging something as not being up to your standards. Glenn say he wants somebody to teach. That's what he say. But you're going to label everything come towards you. That's what you do. You label everything. It ain't up to your standards. It don't matter. Avery versus Johnson wrote his on a paper bag. As the story's told, I don't know how true it is, but they say Avery versus Johnson, man was so oppressed, he was trying to get some messages out, and he put his petition on a paper bag, a brown paper bag. You don't even use them no more. Yeah, that was Avery versus Johnson. So when you get ready to start trying to judge something, always remember, Glenn, they don't want me to teach, man, because the next generation would think a lot differently if they knew what Lincoln wrote. But, you know, all I'm trying to do, man, is just try to get you to understanding that I've been through a lot to get here. And I'm not going to ruin this moment, man. I'm just so deeply touched, and you have brought an energy for me. It is. It's an energy. I'm not trying to beef with you. You know, I'm just trying to let you know I can only do so much. You're going to have to get out there, too. Everybody going to have to get out here. But when this is over with, everybody got some work to do. Everybody got, if I got you this far with a position, no, you're going to get it in your school systems. Because like I said, Glenn, they ain't going to let me even bring it to their door, period. I'm unworthy for them. But it never takes away the fact, it can't take away the fact that the U.S. Supreme Court know who I am. And I'm still standing. And anytime you want to bring your best, I ain't hard to find. You want me in court, that is what I do. But you gotta stop all this, you know. I walk in the courtroom, I ain't never seen so many police in my life, really. I ain't on just on some land rights, and there's so many police there. Yes, it's already on, you know, the zoning and all that kind of stuff. Every time I even show up at a zoning, the room is just surrounded with police. You know, you don't need all that, man. All I'm trying to do is get some property. So anyhow, let me show you today what this is about, okay? Because that's more important to get it out now. Let me get it out. And like I say, I'm proud of myself. Maybe that's why people never really understand me, because, you know, I have to always be on a high. you know, because I'm proud of myself. You motivate me, you know, that's fine. But I am very proud, you know. And today I bring to you the greatest petition ever filed by a pro se litigant. I mean, you have to go back in the files, maybe going back to Amistad, Dred Scott, people like that. You know, this is really a shame that America would keep you from Harry Gines. Get it in your public school systems as early as you can. It is possible. People say, well, it's so complex. No, it's not. Nothing complex about it. All you have to understand is one thing. Under the ex post facto clause, you have no right to make any laws harsher than they were in the beginning. Now that's coming to you orally. As simply put, I will repeat it for you. Under the ex post facto clause, you have no right to make laws harsher than they were in the beginning. Meaning, the 13th Amendment was already in effect by Lincoln. You come along, the next president, chop it up down to 2 sections? Yes. Understand that if you cannot understand anything about this petition, and you want to say it's fair, no, it could never be fair because you can never take 18 out of 20 and then turn around and say you was fair. You will not never defeat the ex post facto clause. And you know this. Fairness must always be. And when you get ready to take on the ex post facto clause, always remember, 20 sections is what Lincoln gave as his position for the black man. And Lincoln was a Republican who believed in segregation. Make no doubt, the country is off. It's off course because you wouldn't listen. You jumped on that bandwagon of Martin Luther King, and now you have a whole nother generation out here that don't understand nothing about the heritage and what they were supposed to have been entitled to, which would have changed everything. You know, ain't nobody trying to break away from the country. But a lot of things is happening. Here it is today in black and white. I reveal to you Harry Gines versus United States. As Harry Gines versus United States comes into your existence, you will know. You will know. We're going to bring this thing to you. This is going to happen today. My portion of this, I've given you my dialogue, but now we're finna get down to some work. You're going to work right behind me. You can believe that. I'll make sure of it. Because you ain't going to have these excuses. You're not going to have these excuses as why the next generation doesn't know what Lincoln wrote. Because if they knew what Lincoln wrote, no, they wouldn't act the way they did. Now here we go. We're going to bring this up a little closer to you. Can you see it? Check it out. Are you there? Come check it on this side. You might want to check that on my side, on this side. You see it? Over there? Yeah. This document has been shown on social media plenty of times. You've seen that document. That document, always remember, you don't reach the U.S. Supreme Court and then the U.S. Supreme Court orders you to notify attorneys, opposing parties. You don't make it to that level unless your case was accepted and docketed. Okay? To make a docket on the U.S. Supreme Court, that is something that is so rare. That alone just sent me to my knees to be able to know that out of thousands of petitions, Harry Guys versus United States was accepted and granted a certiorari. That made me so proud. And today is being brought to you. Remember that? Yeah, I'm real proud of that. Like I said, it's both sides, North and South. I'm not just interested in the people in the North. I'm interested in both, North and South. And we're going to give honor and respects to both. All that taking down statues and mess like that, we ain't getting nowhere taking down those statues. What, you think you're changing the culture by taking a statue down? That ain't going to change the culture. I'll tell you that right now. Now what happened there was we had to go forward. We had to go forward a little bit just to come back. Some technical problem with this page, but this page is being straightened out and blown up as large as possible so that you can understand how and everybody who have been notified. That's very important. All parties were notified of this case. And you will be also seeing the opposing parties coming into your picture real soon. Know those parties. Are you sure you can read it from the computer? Okay. So, this was the notice of filing right here. That was a very special day. This is the actual petition, front page. That blown up good and large for you. Click that again. You better click that again. Okay. Yeah, we're working right now. It's going to take something. It's going to take a lot of work. Very much patient at this. This is a project in the making to bring something to you from the 20th century into the 21st century. I don't hear nobody talking about it's boring. I don't hear none of that. Take a page a day if you have to. There's solutions for everything. If it's too overwhelming, this isn't something that you're going to sit down with. It's 30 years of my life. At least you could do is do a page a day. Now, these questions, this is very important to be able to, what questions are you presenting? And your questions, always remember, should have reflected your lower court petition. Because to get to the U.S. Supreme Court, you would have first had to file at the lower court of the federal court. Okay? Once you go to the lower federal court, that's appealed into the higher court of the appellate court. Once that court has been denied from, you proceed to the U.S. Supreme Court. There is a, a paper trail or just a ranking of how your petition makes it to the U.S. Supreme Court. And could you scroll back down on that page one more time from the beginning of that page? It might have been something there. Okay. Now make sure you're going to go over these questions. Make sure you get plenty of time with these questions, because you may have to present a question one day as for what are you asking of the court to recognize. Whoops. Yeah, make sure you're understanding what is it that you're asking the court to recognize. Now pay attention to these people. These are some respondents. This is very important as to who you're saying wronged you. How are these government agencies wronging you under the law? This would be who, under Harry Guines versus the United States, were declared to be a respondent. That's what these people are. These are the people who are directly responsible for not giving you what Lincoln wrote. Lincoln wrote that there would be a land for you. By you having that right, these are the people who deprived you of it under their law that is ambiguous to what Lincoln wrote. Now, go back down on that page again. There is a part here. Slow, please. Up a little bit more. Right here. Right here. This is what we want right here. Know these people right here. This department. The reason why this department is so important is because even in your history textbooks that you're seeing every day, they're not known as the Freeman Bureau. You've heard of the Freeman Bureau. Oh, that was a long time ago. Yes, but they still exist. What happens is, like you see very commonly, how the government changes its name. This is the Freeman's Bureau. That's who they are. But in time, you will get lost in time and space as one generation moves on, dies out. You can never connect the Freeman's Bureau with the Bureau of Land Management. You would have to know that. If I died tomorrow, this is so important to know this. And it's really just cutting right through me right now to be able to stand here and narrate that to you. That is 30 years of my life knowing how could it happen? Because it's so easy once the names change. When the name change, you don't even think about the Freeman's Bureau. You think of them as something historic and old. But that don't change the fact that the new name is still liable for the old name. And that's how it's played. Now, this is important because in this table of contents, it gives the body of what is necessary. Each one of these categories must be answered within your petition. Once you reach the Supreme Court level, there will be each category must be there showing clearly by caption on your petition. That's very important. Otherwise, your petition will get rejected. But in these volumes, today you see the appendix. The reason why the appendix is important because it also gives you a log. It gives you a log of everything within the body of the work of the petition. It's just jotted. It's jotted for you so you'll be able to use it as a reference. Like any index is used. So whether I bring you the entire appendix, which would take us a lot longer to get through, you still have the index. And most of these things that are here can be researched. But yet, I'm trying to get you out of the stage of researching. Researching, it's good, but yet always remember Harry Gines has already done all that for you. So you can check out my work all you want. That's fine, you know. And it tells you right here. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. See how the 7th Circuit over there? It was appealed to the 7th Circuit. The 7th Circuit is very important because once the lower court of the Federal District, Southern District, denied me, I was able to appeal to the 7th Circuit of Appeal Court. And from there, I was able to proceed once the 7th Circuit, because it's even on Google that I was denied from the 7th Circuit, which creates an appeal to the United States Supreme Court. There I was granted sanctuary. I mean, that was just, this is such a great moment for me. And like I said, all of these globes, all of these appendix is made to, you know, large thick volume, very thick, that I had to research. But you wouldn't want me to bring all that out. So what I have done also is just taken some pertinent parts of the appendix. Can you read that? You might want to check. You can go a little faster. Yes. Now, a good thing for you to have is your devices. We're using as much technology in the 21st century as we can to bring you this. But you can have your own personal device. That's what we're trying to do here. To go as not too fast a pace, but yet I'm hoping that you will be making photocopies with your phone, taking a picture. Everybody get your devices out. And say you're bored, get your devices out and take some pictures. That way it's in your phone. You can also catch it on YouTube. That's where this is eventually going to. But yet you can also catch this with your phone. That's what we're hoping for, that this can get inside your phone. Like I said, it may not make me a dime. It doesn't matter. I've done my part. Make sure you do yours. Make sure your device has this. You see that? Check it out, see it. We're bringing you the best possible clarity that we could. I think I've been putting on social media that I've changed producers. So because of that, I'm hoping that this would be a successful venture in the door. It's our very first project that we've done with a new producer, and I'm just hoping it can, the point being made can come across as I'm hoping that it would be received for that. It's an educational project. Oh, you in there? Now, excuse us just for a moment. We're going to have to make some adjustments. We're entering into a phase of our presentation that we'll have to make some adjustments. Again, trying to get the clarity as best we can. We will have to move closer. Are we there? You might want to say, I don't think you're getting all that in. I don't think you're getting all that chocolate. You get that side. Let's see it on my side, see how you look. Come on this side. You might can tell. I don't know. Can you make it up? You need more on this side. You definitely need more on this side. I think so. If you look at it, I don't think you're all the way in. See, you only get one row. And you gotta scoot it over. Oh, okay. Okay, what's happening right now, if you look at the top of this, you'll be able to see what's called the congressional globe. Now, everybody who ever seen a congressional globe know that it is always very small print. So the most important thing here, we are going to bring you as close to the clarity as we can get. But as you can see, if you're looking at the top, the date, the Saturday, April 9th, 1864, if you're looking at that, that would be enough for you to even go to the National Archives requesting such historical documents. You would be able to go to the National Archives and receive documents from them if you know what to ask for. So this, as a caption, should be satisfactory. But yet, we're going to try to be able to bring some of the language. Try to get some of the language to you as well as best we can. But yet, again, we gave you the caption. Now, the way we're presenting this, we may even be presenting it in columns. As you can see, the columns, we're trying to break this down maybe in columns. And if you're using your devices, you will still be able to follow. So bear with this, because like I said, in this you will have to work. It won't be something that's just handed to you. That's not part of the journey right now. It's more important that you're really having your own devices, and you're able to get the caption, and you're able to contact the National Archives. Yes, that's what's most important. So, but we are trying our best to get you the best clarity. This is directly, the Article 13 is directly what Lincoln wrote. And you can go over that a little slower. Hit that one again. Hit that again. Yeah. Yes, we're going to go over this one more time for you. Because like I said, this is really, where you need to be as far as understanding Abraham Lincoln. This is it. Okay, and you may have seen this before. But the whole point of it is, even if you've seen it, then you must understand how to use it effectively as for your position, as for who you are in America, especially as a black man. Yes, like I said, we're taking this in columns. We go at the top, okay? You might say even page, you can go page 1490, a congressional globe, okay? But this is like the second, if you're following it over here, you can see section 15. This is the follow-up. We're giving you the 20 sections right now. That's most important with these first 2 pages. You can see the 20 sections right here clearly. This is what we're talking about. And that should be in your screen. Yeah. And again, the most important thing here, remember we keep telling you about the caption? We keep telling you about the caption page because we're doing this live right now. It's only one take on this. We're not, the clarity could be questionable, but that's part of the work. That's all part of the work. You see, when you're working and you're trying to check, make sure you got your caption because you can solve the problem very quickly and simply by contacting the National Archives. The National Archives would be able to bring you the same identical pages that you're looking at that may not be as clear to your satisfaction, but for all technical ways, we have tried to bring you this presentation as clear as possible as technology could possibly blow up a footnote. This particular page is speaking on monies, how monies were, the Labor Department, how revenue was earned by the black man and how important he was to be able to generate those type of revenues. You might want to get that caption. That caption wasn't shown very quickly. But yeah, make sure we get in the caption. The caption is there. Yes, your caption. Yeah, your caption's there. Because, like I said, we're giving you the best clarity we can bring in technology. But yet, as you check the National Archives, they will be able to assist you. Chips. Now that BLM at the top of the page, that's not Black Lives Matter. That would be Bureau Land Management. Make note of that, because you may get confused thinking today, it is strange how Black Lives Matter initials do pop up, but it's not for them. It is the Bureau Land Management. That was a long time. It's a lot of work. We're in here working. But we got it done. Just want everybody to know the producer, Kenny Loyd Sr. Just remember that. Kenny Loyd Sr. That's very important, because the more as history, this thing comes to history. Like I said, we ain't make a dime. We just in here working. So Kenny Loyd Sr. Just remember that in history. Everybody name today going down with me in history. I'm taking everybody with me. We may not make a dime, but the next generation, you're going to remember our work. And I mean, that was a long time coming. I'm about to get out of here. I'm going to let y'all go, because y'all got some work to do. Y'all got some work to do. I'm finna rest. Believe that. I'm finna rest. That's what I'm finna do. Now, there's one thing you can say. You can talk about all you want. You can talk about all you want. But always remember this. If you're looking at it and you're seeing it, the North ain't no better than the South. And remember that. It's going to always be a time when you may need to be united. But just make sure you know who made this film. No. Had nothing to do with nobody up north. Nothing to do with I assure you that. One day you might meet Kenny Loyd Sr. You might have to meet him one day. But just remember this. Everybody got to carry on this tradition one way or another. He put work in. So I'm going to thank him. I'm going to shake his hand. And I got to get out of here, y'all. We way over time. But it's well worth it. And just always remember, the South will rise again. This is Harry Gines, and I'm going to leave y'all with all of me today. Thank you.